we are spending about 90% of our time, maybe more, in doing indoors. And when we know that indoors the air quality has 2 to 5 times more pollutant than outdoor, I would be very interested to know if my kids are in a safe place. Whether it's a school, whether it's a university, whether it's a mall, we all want to make sure that things are in good shape. Unfortunately, we're still not there yet because less than 1% of the buildings in the world are well certified. So there's no way we can tell that this building is really good with a good air quality or not. There's another trend that not many people talk about, let's call it a hidden trend, that there's a huge acute shortage of skilled workers. At a macro level, if you look at it, there's a lot of fights and ways for hiring good talents, mainly skilled workers. It's estimated that there will be about a shortage of 85 million skilled workers by the year 2030. And for that, we really need to strategize. We really need to think about the future, how we can enable our people to be more productive, how we can enable our buildings to be smarter and maybe self-healing and think for themselves and use our technicians' time more efficiently. Now, for that, we will need a lot of devices. And in 2021, it's estimated that there is about 32 billion devices implemented in the world. About 3.6 billion of those, about 11%, is in buildings. That doesn't include my devices and your devices that we bring to the office or we use at home. It's just from a building perspective. Now, all these devices are generating a lot of data. And that's why you see a huge race in the market about how we can monetize this data, how we can analyze this data to understand what's happening in the building, which will help us eventually to better control the building and better make our buildings more efficient. It's estimated that there will be an investment of about $150 billion over the next 3 years in AI and machine learning just for that purpose. Now that's great. However, that comes with a price because all these analysis and require processing power. Processing power requires data centers and servers and cooling and all this. That brings us to the topic of energy. Everyone's talking about energy reduction. And with the pandemic, it's not easy anymore because you need to balance between the health and safety, occupant well-being, and energy reduction. So everyone is now trying to think how to balance these three. At the top of that comes the sustainability, where there's a lot of regulations, as I mentioned in my comment here, is that there's a lot of countries that are signing agreements for sustainability goals. And sustainability is mainly to reduce your footprint, your operating footprint, gas emission footprint, and energy is one of them, but you need to look at the whole life cycle of your building, which I'm going to talk about in more details. We did also a survey with the real estate managers, asking them what is your top priority over the next 3 years. And the answers were very clear. Number one, I want to reduce my operating costs. Number two, I want my occupant well-being. I want to have good experience for my occupants. Number three, I want to reduce my portfolio footprint. These three are in line with the trend that we talked about. So, traditionally when we design any building, let's say I've been in the industry for about 20 years when I started my career, when we have any new building, it's all about security, safety, and sometimes energy management and productivity. Those are the systems that we always designed ourselves around. Now with the new requirement that we've started to see in the market and the new trends, we started to talk about more, because of the regulation that's coming from the government, we started to talk about sustainability. Because of the productivity issue, we need more digitization and so on. So there are new muscles that we need to develop when we are designing a building. It's not up to the manufacturer to do that. It's not up to the building owners or the consultants. It's a whole ecosystem that we all need to work together from the inception, the idea of the building, till it's established. We all need to think and work together to achieve that. What technologies do we have to enable us to do this? There are a lot of technology in the market right now, and some of them are mature enough, like for example the cloud technology or the mobile application technology. Some of them are being developed as we speak. We are in a good shape, but things are getting better and better, like the integration, automation, and so on. And some of them are still in the infancy stage, like the 5G. The power behind 5G, I think we are way underestimating the power behind 5G and what it can enable us from edge computing and so on. The other one is that it's debatable, which is the machine learning and artificial intelligence, that some people say that no, we have advanced machine learning, artificial intelligence. In my personal view, we're just scratching the surface. We can do way more in these technologies, and future will tell that. Now, we all need to start embracing these technologies. We need to adapt to these technologies. Some of us are hesitant to adapt these technologies, but we have to be cautious as well that these technologies are developing, so we need to make sure that the technology is mature enough to put it in design and implementation in the buildings. This is one of the slides that I really like, which is literally, this is the framework that our CTO, Chief Technology Officer, globally use when they are explaining how they think about their technology. So I showed you there's tons of technologies that are available for us. Where are we going to invest as Honeywell? Where do you want to invest? In what of these technologies? How can we decide on that? And this is the framework that they usually use to decide on the technology. So we can either invest and innovate using the technology that we have in the current demand. Let's say that a new LED light. Great, it's a great idea. However, it's a very crowded industry. Your profitability will be less. It's not a game changer. It's not that exciting. When you look at, let's go and invent in the emerging drivers, and those demands are still not clear. And we did that a few years back when we invested in the gesture control in the building technologies and audio control, or augmented reality. We soon found out after a lot of POCs that the technology and the industry is not ready for that. The building operator or the building service technician really struggling with all these equipment because it's blocking their normal vision, it's running out of battery, and. So we thought that it's still early for these, the demand is still not there. Or we can try to move from the current demand to the emerging drivers without the right technology. And we did that recently when we tried to implement the blockchain technology into building operation. We ended up, our technology team was telling me that they ended up with a lot of pivots from idea to idea and changing the structure of their design, and they ended up with a solution that is completely different than what they started with, and it was too complex for that technology that it provided. So they scrapped that idea. And finally, the sweet spot is where you have current demand that can help you to monetize. It can expand to the future demand, and the technology is already there. Now, what we decided is that we need to invest in 3 themes where technology allows. The first one is personalization. I'm going to go through each one of them in details, but personalization is just telling you that every persona, every one of us has different demands. Every building has a different demand. You cannot say a BMS is a BMS anymore. It's not. Because when you have a school, you have a different requirement than if you have a mall or if it's a bank. When it comes to infrastructure, for example, uptime is the most important thing, and so on. So we need to think about the person that's using this building and the nature of the building itself to decide what technology we're going to put in there. The second one is digitization. We cannot talk about the building of the future without digitization. If you're still using paper and pen, if you're still using Excel sheet or printed manuals, that will be the bottleneck. That will not enable us to go this step forward. We need full digitization. We need all the system to have proper handshake, seamless integration. It's actually beyond seamless integration. It should be just a plug and play between systems that we are all as manufacturers trying to get there. And finally, sustainability, which, as we talked, it's not a fad anymore. It's not just a word in a PowerPoint presentation. people are choosing hotels based on that. Booking.com did a survey, and 81% of the people said that we want hotel. We would rather to go in a hotel that is sustainable rather than a hotel that is not sustainable. People are renting offices based on the sustainability. I myself live in a sustainable city, and we see a lot of people coming from abroad. They don't know anything about the houses that we're living in. They're just renting or buying just because it's in the sustainable city. They want to be assigned with these words. So we really need to invest in these technologies. So when we talk about the personalization, let's start with an example. You want to visit someone in a campus where you have multiple buildings. The gate is a few hundred meters away from the building that your host is in. Sorry. You usually arrive to the gate. They will ask you for your IDs to register you, and then they will call the host, and then they will ask him to come and pick you up, or they will send you to a certain location. The host will come and take you up to your meeting room and so on. What if the host is late? What if you're early? So what's going to happen? Now imagine that once you arrive, you receive a QR code, and that QR code you can pass the gate without talking to anyone because you're already pre-registered, and it will alert your host immediately that you're in the facility. It will take you to the right parking place, will let you in, take you to the elevators. With the QR code, it will take you to the right floor that you need to go to, and then it will guide you through the map to where your meeting room is. And then from there, you can personalize your environment by controlling your lights, by controlling your temperature and the ambient in your room. I would love to be in that environment. If I'm a new employee and my company is offering this, it's great. This is what people started to ask for. Maybe my generation is less, but now Generation X and Generation Alpha are demanding this because that's how they live. My 2-year-old son, now they can flip in the iPad, he can control stuff that I'm still learning right now. So things are going to change, and we need to be ready for that. Of course, as Honeywell, we're investing a lot in that field. We have the Honeywell Facility Manager, we have the Data Center Manager, we have the Sign Occupant Experience. We're still not there as the scenario that I told you, but we are getting closer. Sign is giving you very similar experience and is getting integrated to all the building systems that eventually in hopefully months or years, few months or few years, you'll get there. And then when we talk about digitization, again, we cannot afford to have manual systems anymore. Let's go back to the scenario. The same elevator that you use the QR code with is not working today. And it could be for any reason. It could be mechanical reason, it could be any of the systems that is feeding into that elevator is not working, like the BMS or the fire, or. The normal scenario, the user will go and report that to the security or to the facility manager. Facility manager will log a ticket, and the ticket will go to the service technician who would need to visit the site once or twice or 3 times to figure out the problem, what's needed to be fixed, and so on. Now imagine that we add to that 5G technologies, digital twins, self-healing features, and now your system, your building is thinking for itself. The system will detect that the elevator is not working. It will go and check the logs and will roll back 24 hours maybe, or maybe more, till the system is working, when the system was working. And it will do all the analysis, and it will send the service technician a common language report, saying, for example, hello, this is the building 123 monitor. We've noticed that the heartbeat of the elevator is not working. We did a full test. The mechanical and electrical system are working fine. However, we found out that the storage is overflowing and we need to enlarge the storage. And then we reset a couple of servers and it's working right now. But we logged the ticket with the IT department so they can increase the storage of the elevators. And the technician now knows exactly what they need to do, or if they need to do anything, because now the system fixes itself by itself. And this is, we're not very far away from that. It's happening at a smaller scale. We have a lot of systems like Honeywell Digitized Maintenance or Predictive Maintenance that is looking for all these anomalies and analyze them and trying to find solutions based on AI and machine learning to figure out what's happening. Okay, let's deep dive a bit in sustainability. We talked that sustainability is linked with energy management. Initially, sustainability meant energy management, not anymore, of course. But when we talk about energy management, maybe 4, 5, 6 years back, we had a lot of really nice algorithms to shed lights, shed loads, reduce temperature in rooms, control our energy in general. Now, there is a twist. There is now the idea of well-being. Our occupants want to make sure that they have enough fresh air. The indoor air quality is becoming very, very important. So shedding the HVAC load might not be there anymore. So the algorithm is becoming much more difficult. We need multimodal and very sophisticated algorithms to do the tricks and come up with easy ESGs. It's not as easy as before. Now, add to that the twist of the actual sustainability, the footprint of your building. Now, we have the options of different energy sources. We have the solar, we have the wind, we have the gas, we have the oil, and so on. Now your building, and we're talking about larger buildings, larger facilities, needs to understand and decide which load to serve by which power source and when to switch what. And when to use the battery in the EV cars to charge to feed back to the grid, or vice versa, where to store the energy. Maybe use the energy that's stored at night to cool in the morning. Or there's a lot of complications in there. And this is again a muscle that very few of us have or developed. And this is what a lot of investment is going through. In our portfolio, we're spending more than 60% of our R&D budget right now. 60% is a lot of money. And we're spending all that in energy management and sustainability. We have a complete sustainability group now, SBG, that is just dedicated for sustainability. We have Honeywell Sustainability Group, Honeywell Sustainability Platform that helps the building owners to decide on how to do their sustainability measures, measure it, and communicate it with their occupants or with their peers. Now, we also need to think about the net zero and how we can achieve the net zero and how we can go to the emission-free, which is looking at what's getting into the building from all the equipments and material and what's going out of the building. So it's becoming much more sophisticated, and our solutions will be able to help you with all that. So what we think is the building of the future is the BMS will play a much bigger role than a BMS. It's not a control system, it's not an HVAC system anymore. It becomes the OS of your building. It's the operating system of your building. With all the technology that we have in hand right now, with the 5Gs and digital twin and all this, we want buildings to operate like your phone. Exactly like your phone. If a building is a phone, you have a building management system that is the operating system, and then you can plug in all the applications to do different things. And this is what we all are working on, to have a seamless open systems that are interoperable and they can talk to each other again seamlessly. Honeywell, we have, I'm sure that you know some of the brands here. We have many brands. We have, from a BMS perspective, we have Allerton, Trend, Centraline, SBC, and of course from a GRMS we have Incom. We have tens of thousands of buildings under our control and millions of data points. Now we're using all that to develop all these strategies to bring you what we're calling now the Forge platform that will hopefully very soon enable us to do all that what I talked about. And we're very happy to have SIBCA as a partner to be able to operationalize this and bring this to the UAE market. With that, just say thank you very much.